Study of 2009-2010. Back to demand pull, that is recovery from crisis, inflation plus cost push, that is food prices inflation. April 2009 to March 2010. The performance of the southwest monsoon in 2009, with a shortfall of 22% in precipitation, was the weakest since 1972. Of the 36 meteorological subdivisions, the cumulative rainfall was excess or normal in 14 subdivisions and deficient or scanty or no rain in 22 subdivisions. Overall, a drought situation was declared in 352 districts by 15 state governments. Food inflation remained high throughout 2009-2010. The increase in inflation in certain commodities could also be an account of structural factors which could create long-term supply bottlenecks. Fuel group, which contributed negatively to overall inflation since January 2009, showed a reversal of trend in the last 4 months of the year. The increase in key international commodity prices during 2009-2010 was significantly higher than the domestic inflation. The increase in inflation during this period also reflected strong demand pressures emanating from the high growth that the Indian economy witnessed during this period. Now let's understand this demand and cost push inflation with the help of following graph. Increase in demand because of huge increase in money supply and government expenditures finally resulted in sharp increase in recovery. The emergence of demand pressure on prices in India during the last quarter of 2009-2010 was visible from a number of indicators such as strong revival in import growth, major turnaround in corporate sales, increases in capacity utilization, and revival in credit demand from the private sector. Apart from this, the pricing power of corporates also seemed to improve with recovering private demand. While the corporates expected in large numbers to be able to raise output prices, they also expected input costs to increase, indicating the cost push effects of supply shocks on general inflation. Increase in supply because of significantly lower prices of resource in the first half, but moderated because of a lowered monsoon. Year-on-year wholesale price index WPI inflation remained low during the first half of the year, that is negative during June to August 2009, and increased faster in the second half to reach 11% by March 2010. Output: what RBI has done. The inflation path changed course significantly over two distinct phases during 2009-2010. The subdued headline inflation in the first half provided the necessary preconditions for sustaining the recovery supporting monetary policy stance. In the second half, increasing generalization of the inflation process necessitated a gradual shift in the balance of policy focus to containment of inflation expectations while still remaining supportive of recovery. What government has done. The identification of sources of inflation is important for the conduct of monetary policy. Tightening of monetary policy in the face of demand pressures could yield desirable results by containing monetary policy sensitive part of the demand. However, when the inflationary pressures are dominated by adverse supply shocks, monetary policy could be less effective in containing price pressures. Supply shocks, however, generally tend to alter relative prices, and in certain conditions, relative price trends could necessitate monetary policy actions, as has been the case for India in the last quarter of 2009-2010. Since the inflationary situation during 2009-2010 largely emerged from the supply-side constraints, the government took a number of short and medium-term fiscal and administrative measures to improve domestic availability of essential commodities and thereby moderate the pressure on inflation. These included reduction of import duty to zero for select food items like rice, wheat, pulses, edible oils, sugar and maize, additional allocation of food grains for sale through public distribution system, that is PDS, and allocation of wheat for release by the Food Corporation of India, FCI, in the open market, ban on export of non-basmati rice, edible oils and pulses, distribution of imported pulses and edible oils through PDS at subsidized rates, an increase in minimum support price of key agricultural commodities to augment production.